We've got a relatively short meeting tonight. Nobody from the public here. Minutes of August 20th meeting and the special meeting of August 28th. Are there any errors or omissions noted? Okay.
Make a motion to accept the minutes as written.
I'll second.
A motion and second, all in favor?
Aye.
Okay. Minutes are approved. Bills, any questions on the bills? Do we have any additions there, son?
No.
I make a motion to approve the bills.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, pay the bills. Is there any correspondence?
No correspondence this evening.
Okay, all I have, I'm not gonna request an executive session, I solved that a different way. I just wanna bring you up to date real quick on the letters for the front of the building. We've ordered them. There was a slight increase because we got those two metal tracking that they're gonna be bolted onto. And the bolt heads that are bolting them on are gonna be powder coated to match the color of the letters. So you're not gonna have like silver dots all over. And the two figures, which are also gonna be made out of that 5/16 aluminum plate, is it?
Yeah. Probably.
Um,
Well, it's the same thickness as the sign.
yeah, they're gonna be made, they're gonna be about $500 a piece.
So the silhouettes.
Yeah, for two of them, 500 each.
Isn't that over what we had?
Well, we didn't know, we
Okay.
thought it was gonna be about 250
Right.
a piece. And they had a computer program to do this, so, because if they would have copied ours exactly, they would have had to write a new program, and that would have been a lot of money. But we found ones that looks very similar to those. But to offset that, the administrator and Jessica have succeeded in getting a rebate on the paint that we didn't use.
Excellent.
And so the paint is, what does that, Steve, about 500 and something?
About $1,000.
So there's your figurines, and we get to keep the paint,
Perfect.
Very good.
because they estimated how much we needed, and we bought what they told us to get, and we ended up with, I don't know, 13 or 14 5-gallon pails full of paint at $50 a gallon, or whatever it was. So, that's good, so we're gonna store that someplace where it's gonna stay good, you know, not get it frozen, and figure out what we wanna paint next with it. I don't know, maybe the water plant or whatever needs to be painted, we're just not gonna use it up to waste it, you know. But, so anyways, I thought that was pretty good. So, we're basically getting the figurines for free.
Perfect.
Good.
So that's where we stand on that. Trustee Arnold.
I have a few things. On the paving, or whatever we're doing on Pine Street and Academy Street, what do we plan on doing up there?
Okay. I think we're gonna get some of the broken curbing repaired this fall, because I think we have time in the schedule to do it. Both of those streets are gonna be needed to be re-engineered, and I'm planning to work on that over the winter. And we started doing it, to figure out what needs to be done. We didn't do it this year, because we couldn't just pave the 2 inches over the top, because it would have put it over the top of the curbs. So, one option is to mill it down, but we couldn't do that because you have to line that up like in January for the summer. The guy that's got the machine, he's booked probably 12 hours a day. I don't know, does he do it 7 days a week, Brian, or those guys, they push it pretty hard, because that's their big money. So, this winter, when we're doing the budget, we'll have discussions on some options of how to redo the street, and the curbs and the catch basins and what they need for pipes underground and stuff. What I don't wanna see happen is what happened on White Avenue. White Avenue is perfect. The street, the curbs, the elevations, everything's perfect on that street, and it's all new. And then a sewer line broke or something, they had to dig a hole. Then something else broke, they had to dig another hole, and basically, you know, have patches all over this brand new pavement. So we're hoping, we're gonna eliminate that kind of stuff as much as we can, so.
Well, you think that's not gonna be cheap if you change the sewers and the waters and stuff like that?
Well, we gotta see what it needs. I mean, maybe it's got a brand new sewer line, we don't know yet. We haven't done any of the preliminary stuff to find out, but before we do anything, which will be next year, we're gonna sort this all out during budget hearings and discussions and work groups and stuff like that.
Yeah, we've had some issues on Academy Street, that's for sure. Right? for the water and.
So these are,
In front of Wyeth.
you know, like, we ended up doing it, re-engineering basically Rose Avenue this year, and that was a huge project, but that one we could do it in-house. This one, we can't do, we couldn't do it like that, so we're gonna we postponed it for a year so we can plan it. We'll figure out option A, option B, price A, price B, all that stuff.
Okay,
And that's what we're gonna do.
all right.
We think we can do some side, curbing work, because that won't affect anything we do in the middle of the street. You know, that has to be done anyway, so we can, if we can fit that in this fall and get that done, then that'll put us that much ahead of the project next year.
All right. Okay, what are we gonna do with Smith Street?
Well, was that planned for this year?
Yes, well, it wasn't planned for this year, but I had asked for it this year, as one of the streets to be paved. But Mr. Pelkey explained to me there was still a lot more cross-cut work to do,
Yeah.
and the sidewalks need to be looked at seriously. So
Well, I
we're
think.
hoping next year, but it may not happen then.
Well, I think what we're gonna try to do again, along with these curbings, I think we're gonna try to do, I was talking to Mr. Pelkey today, and we're gonna try to work in some of the catch basins. They're moving the storm sewer catch basins from the lawns into the street where they're supposed to be. And that's all digging up and moving stuff, and then probably realigning some of the sidewalks here and there wherever we can. And if you want, we can discuss this like in January when things quiet down from all the other stuff we're doing, and figure out just exactly what we're gonna do for next year. And if we can actually plan a two-season street plan if we can't do it all in 1 year. You know, we can say we'll do A and B 1 year and C the
Why don't
second
we
year.
ask the people up there, like they got mailboxes, they got mailboxes on both sides of the street. Why don't we ask that they can put them just on one side?
You have to ask.
No, ask the residents,
You have to ask the post office.
or the post office.
The post office tells them where to be. I don't even know why they have to have, if we put sidewalks up there, I don't understand why they have to go out to the street to get their mail. I do not
Well, when my
understand
son
why.
built his house, they told him he had to put his mailbox by the road.
Yeah, I don't.
He had it on the house,
No more
and they said
door-to-door
no.
delivery unless you're grandfathered in, with the existing house, that's
You
it.
have to check with the post office on that. Guarantee you that, I know that.
I mean,
But it would be a lot nicer, and that way,
Oh, yeah.
when you put the sidewalk up through there, wouldn't it be, Mr. Pelkey, you think? If
It'd be a lot easier to plow and all of the above.
yeah. Mhm.
well, I'll tell you what I sort of like in the back of my mind. It's not etched in stone, I'm not fighting for this or nothing, but just my idea is, we do Pine Street and Academy Street and get them just the way we want them. And those will be like an example of the standard where we want a street to be. You know, curbs, sidewalks, storm sewers, you know, everything like that. And then we can look up at Smith Street and see just exactly what we want to do, because so much was done wrong up there. I mean, the sidewalk was put in like a roller coaster, and it's too close to the street. It should have been back about 5 or 6 feet. The fire hydrant should be between the sidewalk and the curb. Well, we don't have a curb up there, which it should have. If we had a curb, the town would probably plow that for free, because then the mailboxes would be behind the curb, between the sidewalk and all that stuff. But it just depends on how much you want to put into it. To do that, you'd probably have to lower the road down about 1 foot so that it goes down. And I'll draw schematics of this thing out so you can understand what I'm talking about. Because I'll have to do it for Pine and Academy. And that's the right way to do it. And, you know, that's why I'd like to do it, but I don't know if anybody's gonna wanna, you know, we're gonna have to see how much it's gonna cost.
Yeah, the costly is gonna be there. I guarantee you.
Well, the thing is, you can project these things and spread them out over a couple of different phases, and if you wanna do it at all. But the problem with that street is, as we know, that street was cobbed up from the start. It started out, it was a dirt road, and then they subdivided it, and the village paid for everything. And they put a house in over here, and the water line's on one side of the street, and the sewer's on the other side. So every house, they cut the road to put either the water or the sewer, depending on the north or south side. Well, that was all well and good when they were first building it, but once they paved it, and then every 3 or 4 years, they'd sell a lot. So they have to cut another trench across the road to hook up the house. And now it's finally, I think all the lots are sold up there. And if they aren't, if there were just one or two, we could run the line across anyway and cap it. But what do you wanna do with it? You know, you wanna have basically a paved over dirt road up there is what they got now. Or do you wanna put a regular road in that's the right width and the right elevations and the water drains properly and, you know, just depends. But at least we know that the water and sewer lines underneath the road are relatively new.
Doesn't make any difference, if it's new or not. Sometimes they still have a leak.
Oh, I know that, but I'm just saying, they're not gonna be some old clay thing from 100 years ago.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
You know, they're sort of modern, you know, 20, 30, 40 years probably, the oldest.
All right, okay.
So anyways, that's what we'll be looking at this winter.
Okay. All right, library, she got the grant for the asbestos
Right.
and stuff, but she's got about 500 boxes of books down cellar. So they're gonna have to be cleaned out. So I talked to her, she wanted me, she thought that I was gonna haul them out of there and haul them to the dump. And I just said, no, I don't think so. So anyhow,
Book sale?
no, they've been having book sales and stuff, nobody wants any more books. So I called this Dick Ward in Plattsburgh and stuff, and he's a book fanatic or whatever.
I know him.
And he was supposed to call me back and stuff like that, and he was pretty sure gonna take the books. I mean, we were just gonna haul them to the dump, I figured, why should we haul them to the dump if somebody will take them?
We can
and
provide
pick
the
'em up?
load, to help them load them on, and
That's right, yeah, so I talked to Brian, Brian said that he could probably get the couple guys to help load them up
won't take long.
and stuff like that, so,
Do you know Dick
You can use
personally?
them, so.
yes,
You know him?
yes.
I know him too from Boy
Yeah.
Scouts, but he's getting kinda elderly and he doesn't have a business as far as I know, it's just in his house, I think. I don't
Yeah,
know.
well, he's got a big van and stuff like that he comes gets books and
Does
stuff.
he?
They're having a big auction, Brody's auction on the 14th of October, or September, sorry, September. And he was supposed to get back to me over the weekend, and he hasn't got back to me yet, so I'm gonna see if I can get his number and call him back and see if he's gonna take the books or not. Because that's gonna be costly, if we haul them to the dump.
Oh, yeah, go by the ton and you probably got, if you got that many,
Yeah.
yeah.
You know, a few years ago, they had some company come in and take the books, and they paid the library so much.
Well, do you know the company?
No, but I'm sure we can find it. I
Okay,
don't know the name of it, but I mean,
all right. Yeah, because I hate to see them go to the dump if they can be used for something. I mean,
Yeah,
you know, a lot of fiction books and stuff like
Pay the
that.
library
and-
for 'em.
Yeah, yeah, so, anyhow, that's the idea over there, so. We'll have to find out what we can do and stuff like that.
That's gotta all be removed before they can do the asbestos removal,
Right.
right?
Yes,
Yeah.
yeah, it's all gotta be cleaned out, so. Okay, on, safety, we got a safety snowplow refresher course coming up in October.
Okay.
And Brian's got the sheets and stuff like that, and he talked to the guys about it and stuff. And it's free down in Plattsburgh, so the guys are gonna go to it, he's gonna send the guys to it, stuff like that, so. We're working on the safety things and stuff, so still, so.
Yeah, that's good, it's very good.
That's all I have, Mr. Mayor.
Okay, thank you very much, and I appreciate the efforts you're putting into this safety thing, because I think that's very important to me.
No,
Is, like I say, we don't want anybody getting hurt, and we don't want the village in trouble.
yeah. Okay,
Okay, trustee Dart.
Yes. Through some confusion I may have created, I asked for an executive session that I don't need. And surprisingly enough, I have nothing else tonight.
Okay, thank you. Trustee Menard?
Just one thing, I would like to, say that Brian and all the employees of the village have done a great job this summer. A lot of good work, and I'd just like to thank everybody for all their hard work. And that's all I have.
Okay, thank you. Trustee LeBlanc?
Just one thing that's not on the agenda, we did get a quote back from our IT supplier to upgrade our email system. I sent their quotation to the administrators. I looked at a copy of it just right before, the holiday weekend. But it's approximately $1,800 for their work to consolidate everything and fortify our email security system. and enable us to go to, you know, single source email and single source vendor. So I don't know if you want to bring that up in 2 weeks, the official proposal to distribute the information from them, so, we can discuss this.
Okay, is that budgeted?
No, so you have to talk to my budget officer about finding that, but, I'll meet with him, before the next meeting and then, get information out.
Now, is this part of the thing that you were working on for the website or whatever it was, that this all tie in with that?
Yeah, it's the same project, but we'll get a little bit more firm on the numbers and,
Okay, let's just get like a whole package of what it's gonna
Exactly.
cost us, and, you
Yeah.
know, I don't want just to piecemeal and, you know. Okay.
So that's coming along, I'll feel a lot better when we get that in place, some security stuff, and then that'll enable us to use, some hopefully free software to help us do some more collaboration among, all the involved parties here in the village. That's all I have, Mr. Mayor.
Okay, thank you. Other reports. Administrator, do you have anything for us?
yes, sir, we've been in touch with Pfizer. They've been very, very good about keeping us up to date on the little things that are going on, most of which they are asking, not to share, though they're wanted to just reaffirm that things are moving along, that they seem pretty positive about what's coming in the future, and that's what they wanted me to communicate. We're still struggling with this company on gutters. They've got our credit application, I haven't heard back. I think the long weekend, people being on vacation there, and our contact at that company being sick, it's taken quite a while. So I'm gonna start going up the ladder a little bit to try to get something going here, because we've been really going back and forth. I also wanted to announce I've been working with my contacts at the Chamber of Commerce, all of their marketing and media and updates that they kind of present to the rest of the world on behalf of the region. There's some, what I look at as some gaps with Rouses Point and even, Champlain Town and Village, where they're not as engaged with this region as much as they should be. And so what that ends up meaning is anybody that looks on their stuff doesn't see a lot here. And so after pointing that out, they were very good about kind of jumping up and being ready to go. So they'd like to have a breakfast for any business owners, public, the trustees, in October. I'll get the dates all locked in and the location, to try to start a connection, a better connection, and to kind of reinvigorate that. So take that as a good thing, and hopefully all of our local and regional businesses will be willing to at least come hear what they have to say, and get us on the map a little bit better. So that you'll see that coming from me fairly soon.
Okay, that's good.
Is there any cost to that?
For the breakfast, I don't think so, but I don't have as many details as I'd like just yet.
Okay.
Okay, Mr. Pelkey.
Yes, as you can see, our blacktop is done. We came in under budget by a couple $1,000s. We met our chip requirement, so we can get our reimbursement. Our son works on that, he does a good job keeping us in the loop with New York State. Also, we had 2 outages I wanted to talk about and explain to the people what happened. The first outage was on a Friday afternoon that affected the north end of the village, which we had a cutout down on the Bridge Road fail. So that was fixed within 45 minutes. Last Thursday morning, we had another outage, 1:30 in the morning on Smith Street. That was another equipment failure on the bottom of Smith. We had a connection that was compromised. So it took us like 3 hours to fix that, but we got it fixed.
Very good. Glad you guys could go out there and
Well,
tonight.
a lot of people don't understand, being underground, you have to find the problem first. That's what takes us a little time. I mean, unfortunately, it took out Champlain Street and almost the whole south end of the village, Elm Street. And when we start isolating, that's why we have these switches on these corners, we isolate and we bring it back in and we determine where the problem area is, and that's where we can minimize the outages for a lot of people, but this-
Ryan, on these above ground transformers, you know when alarms go off or the pump station is not working properly, you got a red light comes on, can we look into, because it would save a lot of overtime money when you're out there, if you had an alarm light on each transformer that you could readily recognize?
there is money in the budget this year. I put money in the budget for, it's called fault indicators,
Yes.
which it does have a light that we can add onto transformers and switches that start isolating, to slow down the process of opening every transformer.
Right.
There is some, back years ago, we did put some fault indicators out there that wrapped around the cable, and it's just a dial and it tells us.
Right.
But with these switches are pretty nice, pretty sweet, because it will tell us
Yeah.
where the area is that we're having the problem. But there is money in the budget for fault indicators, and we just want to make sure we buy the right ones. And
Yeah, perfect.
it's just been a busy summer. I
Absolutely.
figure that's a fall, winter project
Yeah.
where we can go out and add these things.
Thank you.
And it
Is
would-
your electric crew, are they getting more comfortable doing what you just said, isolating these things and trying to find where the thing is? Can they,
Yes,
are you confident that they can do that themselves pretty much, or?
it takes time, yes, it takes time. We're gonna be doing some work on the corner of State and Lake. We added another switch and we brought another feeder years ago down from the substation. And we're gonna start feeding the north another way off our big Waukesha. And there's gonna be some SOPs that have to be put in place for working on these high lines, which I'm explaining, and we had Kurt Wilson up last Thursday and Friday. We did some oil samples in our substation. We're doing the preventive maintenance on our transformers. And we're explaining that with this new underground line that's gonna feed the north end of the village, you just can't work it like we used to work it with our rubber gloves. It has to be all hot sticked and isolated, which isn't a problem. I'd rather see them isolate it, you know, shut the power off, fix what you gotta do, turn it back on.
Yeah.
Anything overhead now is called the ground fault current. You gotta be very careful. It'll reach out and grab you.
Now, we only have two streets like that, right? The Bridge Road.
Mostly the
and
bridge road
76.
anything that is off the new Waukesha that's in the substation, that takes care of Pfizer, which their load is down considerably. And this new downtown two feeder that we're gonna be energizing is, it's gonna have a lot of power to be able to push up north here. For if this industrial park we ever get a hotel or a restaurant, or, because right now there's only one feeder that comes down through the downtown that feeds down Lake, around Montgomery, and the Bridge Road. So, as we did the north feeder, when we did Pratt Street years ago, we brought another feeder from the substation all the way down to the downtown. We call it the new downtown 2. So we're gonna be able to add load to that and divide, take half the load off the downtown 1, put it on the downtown 2. So then if you ever have a problem in the middle of the night, you can always switch and cross and backfeed. So it's a good system to have in place. And everything we do now is on AutoCAD, so eventually when you get somebody new come in, they can look at our maps, they can see the way things are fed, they can understand our system, like an electrical engineer or somebody new that came in. But this is a type of a system you gotta be careful, and you always gotta be thinking.
Yeah, I had quite a bit.
Underground is very unique in our country. I mean, a lot of people don't like it for that reason. I mean, it looks nice, but it's hard to work on.
Yeah, but it also, there's a lot of other benefits to it too.
Yes, the wind, the storms, definitely.
Cars running into telephone poles and
Yeah.
just everything. Anyway,
But we have a little project that we're working on. I ordered the salt today, 290 tons for the winter, so you know it's coming.
You had to say that. It's gonna be 100
That's
tomorrow.
the final thought. On the
Can I
water
ask you,
plant,
question, Mr. Bucket, were you gonna start, the village office, this year, or?
yes, I'd like to at least do the back of the village office where we're having some water damage to the back door. As you can see, the blocks are starting to, you know, the masonry in between the
Right.
blocks. I'd like to get that fixed and get at least that back painted, because I wanna change that transformer pad back there that's all broke.
All was questioned.
Yeah, it's all squished down, so there is some little work I wanna do around there. We're finishing up the sidewalks, we're doing these trip hazards that people have written in complaints and told us
Yeah.
about. So we have one more pour tomorrow to finish up. We got a little bit of cobblestone work to do in front of, by the liquor store. And, we're trying to get a lot of these little projects done, wrapped up for the winter.
Good.
The mayor wants to keep us busy until at least, you know,
Yeah. Plus you got trimming the trees over the sidewalk.
yes. I did get an email, about the tree at the coffee shop. I mean, we maybe should wait till the leaves come off them a little bit before we start really butchering them up. I wanted to talk to you about that, so.
Yeah.
Especially, you know, I
Yeah,
was gonna meet with you and talk to you about it.
okay. Yeah. Mr., I'd like to ask a question.
Go ahead.
Mr. Peters, did we get anything back from, Van Loop there, or whatever his name was, on the railroad, CP Railroad?
Yeah, he said they're going to cold patch what they can. I can follow up with them if you'd like, and they were going to be replacing at least one of them next year. So full replacement.
When we were up there paving, there was a crew up there, and Adam got a contact name, and they wanna take out one set of rails. They wanna take out that short set, the first set, closest to the east,
Right.
and we're just trying to coordinate with them, and I told them that we would patch it back in, and they are, like Steve said, they are gonna replace the western rail next summer. But if we can get rid of that one set of rails, it's gonna be a lot easier for us when we plow, and we can at least fix a little bit, because we still have some patchwork paving to do.
Yeah.
And I was just gonna patch it back in and,
Mhm.
until they come next year to do the whole thing.
Okay,
But they're willing to take out a whole set of rails, because they're not being used.
yeah. Yeah. Okay. That's all I have.
Okay, motion to adjourn,
Motion to adjourn.
Second?
all in favor?
Aye. How did the Steve Merchant thing go?
Oh, it went great.
Yeah.